Who's the most terrible of them all? It's Hollywood Lean.
Hello and welcome to Everyone is Terrible. I'm your host, Hollywood Lean. It's my favorite day of the week. You know, we were all born naked and the rest is drag. And sometimes you need to be dragged.
Oh my God.
Joining me today is former Real Housewives of Potomac star, Monique Samuels. How you doing, boo-boo?
Hi, Leah. You are a mess. I'm like, where is he going with this?
No bird soars too high unless he flies with his own wings. So, speaking of, how's T'Challa?
T'Challa's amazing. He's hilarious. I'm in the bathroom and I'm hearing this. I'm like, what is that sound? T'Challa, are you outside the door? I open up the door and he just comes walking in and peeks his head. What are you doing, T'Challa? And then you're spying on me while I'm in the bathroom. Like, what are you doing? He's hilarious. Like he just tickles me. He's so funny.
I'm telling you, we got the birds and the bees and the dogs over here. We got a lot going on. So you're from Atlantic City. You're like a total Jersey girl, right?
Oh yeah. I'm from Atlantic City. Grew up in Pleasantville, which is right outside the city, and yeah, Jersey bred.
Jersey Brett. I love that. Jersey's so good right now. You should join that cast. Go join the Real Houses of New Jersey.
Oh my goodness. Look, I think I've had my dose of housewife life and I'm good on it.
Well, let's talk about that. So it came out that, you got your contract and you decided that it was just, you were done. Your time was over. Kind of take me back to that moment where you just kind of realized, like, this is not for me.
The main thing was I always said that my family's off limits. And at the point, they tried to paint a narrative as if my husband and I would try to add a storyline onto the show that involved my child. That was very disgusting. And then not show that this whole situation was a plot, which one person actually admitted on their live. And then they showed Chris and I's response to that live versus showing that person's live. I was just like, you know what? It's one thing to fight the ladies, but when you're trying to fight production and the network and there's no regard, even for innocent children, I was like, you know what? I am done. I was just completely turned off and over it. And I never felt so sure about making the decision that I made to walk away.
Do you feel like you were a victim of reality TV in a sense?
I never claimed to be a victim of anything. I mean, I know what I signed up for. They're going to do whatever they want to do. That's their job. My job is to set the boundaries. And when I feel as though my boundaries have been crossed and I feel as though it's been enough, then it's enough. And it was my choice to walk away. I can't be mad at them for doing what they do. They do it to everybody,
Yeah, because part of me is, I've done my research and I've heard what you said in other interviews and stuff. And I kind of want to not change the narrative because it's your truth and I can't tell you to change, your perspective. But I do want to talk about kind of like the aspect of like, are you surprised? Because I feel like this happens all the time in other franchises. And I feel like everyone takes their turn on the cross, so to speak. But I feel like when you came on, it was, let's try to get her from the beginning, especially with certain cast members and stuff. So I can understand the buildup and everything, but are you going to miss it? Because there is amazing opportunities to be on TV.
I'm not going to miss it. I don't miss it. I know they're currently filming and I really don't care. You know how you just get to a point with anything in life where you feel like, okay, I think I've had enough. And you feel very assured. You feel very reassured. You feel very certain about the decision you're making. And that's pretty much where I am. And at the end of the day, no network, no production company can provide more opportunities for me than God.
That's just how we got to know you. So I just wanted to know if you were going to miss it at all, just because I know that there is good things that come with being on the show. And then there's lots of hateful things that come. And, as someone that's been watching since season 1, not Potomac, but I'm saying like season 1 of the very first Housewives show ever, I've seen how the show has evolved and how the standards have changed and how, like, if your situation happened maybe 6-7 years ago, it just would have been a totally different narrative. It would have been a different audience reaction. And just as much as we evolved, I think that show and network has evolved. Maybe not in the best way, in my opinion.
Right. I remember watching when OC first started. I've been watching Atlanta since the beginning, and it used to be about these typical housewomen who you don't know, and now they're on TV and now they're famous. But what I loved about it back then was that you could see the sisterhood. You can see and watch these women maybe start out with an idea and turn it into an empire, turn it into a successful business. And it was very empowering. And that's the way I always looked at Housewives until now. Now it's turned into something completely different. Now it's all about, who we can get dirt on, who are we going to take down. It's just very nasty and very dark.
To me, it's about the emotion behind the person. That's why I love the show. I love the women. I love the people, not the actual, like, what they represent, the cast member. Like, I was cast to be, that girl with the shade, that's always going to call them out, like everyone loves to be the real one, but it's like, there's only a couple ones that are actually real. Everybody else is playing a part on TV. It's a reality show at the end of the day. And like me and Monique have talked about, you guys, it's just different. It used to be completely different. It was about the connections. The drama used to come naturally. When it came down to your situation on Potomac, it was like, now we have the perfect excuse to really go after her, especially like with Wendy. I'm like, you just got here. Calm down. Like, now she's talking about killing her. And I'm like, if you don't shut up, Rob, I was so heated.
Oh my God. And I was just waiting for them to show when Robin and Giselle were laughing after the fight.
I'm like, telling you, those two, Tweedledee and Tweedledum over there.
Yes. Pinky and a brain.
We love vulnerability. We love vulnerability as an audience member. We love to see that kind of walls come down, that breakdown. But I'm like, you guys, how can you honestly expect Monique to be apologetic, to be vulnerable when you guys are cornering her? Did you feel like you were cornered at Karen's house?
Absolutely. And it's funny because I'm the one that called the meeting, and I called it with the mindset of just basically apologizing to them for putting them in harm's way. And then I wanted to give them notice that I'm not going to be participating in group events. Please don't invite me. I need my time. I'm going on a journey. I need some self-discovery, and I'm going to be in therapy. I'm going to seek some help and guidance. And it was just me giving them a heads up. I had no idea it was going to turn into them like pointing fingers, and they made it about them. They wanted to, I guess they thought because I was in a position where I was at a low point that they could kick me even lower. And even in that moment, I was still like, okay, if you want to leave, then go. All right, bye.
Exactly. What are you supposed to say to that? How are you supposed to react to that? And I really feel like you did come in with good intentions. I feel like you really wanted to just kind of be real about it. And like you've never seen a fight go down. You've never seen people just get so like the marble spilling over the jar. It was just crazy to me that they couldn't empathize at all. Do you think Andy has kind of changed in the way he runs the reunions? It used to be very neutral, and now I feel like he has his favorites. Jennifer Aydin just said last week, Andy has his favorites. What do you say to that?
I can definitely agree with that. I've never had an issue with Andy. I will put that out there. In person, he's been nothing but kind to me. I've never had any issues with him. So, but I definitely think he has his favorites, even with how I was basically interrogated at the reunion versus how he didn't hold others accountable in that same tone.
And do you think that happened because you reacted in a way that they didn't approve of?
It had been over a year. So what is it that you're trying to get? What kind of reaction are you trying to get out of me? I think that they were anticipating that I was going to come in hot. I was going to come in mad. They tried to put me at a different hotel. You know what I'm saying? It was like they were throwing a bunch of fuel on the fire. So they wanted me to react because they're used to Monique being 0 to 100. They're used to me being the reactor. So I was in therapy. I did some soul searching. I really wanted to understand how I ended up in that position and learn from it and move forward. And once I was able to do that, I'm not that same person anymore. I'm not a person that's going to react that way because I'm more aware of myself now. So I think that's what it really boiled down to, is that they were really trying to piss me off, and it didn't work.
So you do think that they reacted the way they did interrogating you because you didn't react the way they wanted you to?
Absolutely. Anytime you're telling a person, well, you're not being emotional, you just seem stoic, or you just seem like, first of all, just because I'm here a year later, unbothered, doesn't mean I didn't go through that emotional process. And then as soon as that happened, I'm hit with a complaint filed against me in legal matters, having to get an attorney, so that remorse was overshadowed by all of the things that came afterwards. And now I have to put my big girl panties on and just move forward and do what I have to do. On top of the fact that I still have 3 kids, a husband, businesses that I have to maintain and monitor. So life did not end. I didn't get microwaved tea served to
Yeah.
me and just sit on the couch with a robe on. So I still had things to do and things to handle. So I dealt with everything the best way that I could, and they missed out on all of that. You're not going to sit in on conversations with me and my attorney. This is a real life matter.
Yeah.
This isn't something for kicks and giggles. You're not about to ruin my case and then try to paint another picture that is not what really happened, in the meantime. So,
I mean, just thinking about all of this, kind of reflecting back, do you regret it?
do I regret what?
The physicality between you and Candace.
I wish it didn't happen, but at the same time, I'm a person who will turn a negative into a positive and look at it like this. Had that not happened, I wouldn't have been forced to go on a soul searching journey. I would not have had to look deeper into myself and investigate some triggers that I didn't know existed from childhood, So I feel like it made me a bigger and better person because having gone through it.
Yeah, like I don't believe in coulda, woulda, shoulda. Just because you can't do anything about it, and it's just like
Right.
dwelling on the past is not going to change what happened, and
Right.
it's not going to change anything in the foreseeable future. Just thinking about it, I was like, I wonder if she just wishes none of that had ever happened. Like, oh, I just wish I had never even went to the freaking barn.
Yeah, I mean, you have those moments where you're just like, why did I let myself, get triggered? Why didn't I walk away? That was my biggest thing, is like, as soon as I saw what they were doing, I should have said, you know what, bye. But I had plenty of breakdown moments when I was in therapy. And I think all of that is necessary. You have to go through the motions to get
You
through it.
do. Just to heal from it.
Yeah.
But now I want to talk about something that you teased at the reunion that we never got to see. You came with this binder.
My binder is so funny because when I made that binder, that's not something out of the norm for me. I always keep my receipts. I've been saying that since I started this platform. You always keep your receipts.
So what was the plan for the binder at the reunion? Like, so you brought it to the reunion, and what did you want to do with that?
I had it as proof for anything that I say out my mouth. So my whole thing was, I'm not going to sit here and allow y'all to tell y'all's version of anything and not back it up. I'm going to back it up, and then I'll back yours up too. So whenever they came with false claims, that's what they like to do. They like to make up these stories, and because they say it, people take it as, oh, that must be true. No, hardly ever the case. But when I say it, trust and believe I'm going to back it with something. So I'm not just out here just firing off, saying anything and everything, because then it won't stick. What sticks is the truth and proof. I mean, literally, if you go to court, you build your case, you have to have evidence.
Yeah. There is
yeah.
nothing tangible or legal in hearsay. Like, it always has to be documented somehow.
Absolutely.
And these days, even a text message, a Facebook message is all valid in court. So yes, Monique is here with the receipts.
Yes.
Tell me what binder time has now evolved to, because now you're teasing binder time stories.
Yes.
I want to know what it is exactly. Like, are you going to be sitting in front of the camera reading from these chapters? Is there going to be a skit? Because I'm telling you, even the promo, y'all, this looks really fancy. I'm like, is this a series? What is this? Like, I'm excited. So
Yes.
Monique, tell us what you're going to be doing with this binder in this new venture you got going on.
Yes. Look, you never know where it will take you. So people kept asking me to basically show them what's in the binder. And of course, I'm not going to do that, So I was like, let me think of a creative way that I can give you what you're asking for, and make it fun. And that's pretty much what I did. So think Disney, think story tales and nursery rhymes, Dr. Seuss, you know, just back in the day growing up, we always had story time. And who said story time has to be just for kids? What you're going to get is a series of riddles. And it's told in such a way where it rhymes. So I used my rapping skills and turned it into me just rhyming. And it's just really fun. And it's one of those things where when it's over, you're going to say, whoa, when's part two? It's very like, it's very attention grabbing.
So you're like, Jamal went out the door. We all knew he was going to be a whore.
Well, I have characters and their names will be revealed.
The pastor said he's single, but we all know he's ready to mingle. Are we going to know who you're talking about?
More than likely. But there's going to be several drops of tea. The only people who's going to have a problem with binder time are the people who know I'm talking about them. And if they come out and say, hey, that part was about me, well, you just snitched on yourself. Funky Dineva told me when he saw the first promo I did and he just listened to the way I was talking, he said, oh, this reminds me of Bridgerton on Netflix. So,
oh my God. So you're the lady whistleblower. That's what you are.
Lady Whistle something, Whistle Castle. What's it?
Whistleblower.
Whistleblower?
Or Whistle Down, lady Whistle Down. Whistle down. There's a whistle in there somewhere.
Yes. When he told me that, I had never heard of Bridgerton, nor have I saw it. And I was just like, okay. So that night I went and looked it up and I was like, okay, I'm going to take a look at this. And it's so funny because I can see where and why he said that. A lot of the music I use in binder time is it's like orchestra.
Yes, it's it is very Disney. It is very Disney. So I'm kind of excited about this. I was just trying to figure out like how exactly is she going to execute this? You know, like is she going to be in like a big throne just telling stories? Can you give us a little tease of like who the first riddle is going to be about or the subject?
Okay, well, the first part is definitely more so of an introduction. And then I leave you with, like I said, I drop some tea at the end and you have to figure out who I'm talking about. So after every part, I say, crack the riddle.
And you know what? I think this is good. I think we need something fun.
Yeah.
Just because it's been so dark for a minute here, you know?
Yeah. This is me turning my negative into a positive once again, as I did with my song. So for people that have followed me and know me, I'm a creative person. And a lot of times for me to bring closure to any situation, I need to do something creatively. So when I was like finally had forgiven myself for what I did and what I got myself into with the fight, I made drag queens. You know, so it was an outlet for me. Once I recorded it in the studio, I was completely done and I was completely over it. Now with binder time, it's basically a summation of my time on this network and a part of Bravo and the Housewives franchise. And it's my fun way to exit. And it's my way to just kind of put closure to a very crazy 4-year ride.
You got to stay busy. It keeps the voices away. That's what I tell people. Well, I'm glad that you're doing something fun and, you know, productive and entertaining. And, you know, I think what opens up the doors in this kind of arena for you guys is the interactions with fans and the base that you can acquire. And how has that support been for you throughout this past year?
Oh man, it's been tremendous. It really has. And even I've had people who have supported me who would even reach out and say, look, I'm disappointed, but I'm still in your corner. You know, I'm not proud of what you did or how you reacted, but I'm still here for you. And to see and hear that and to get that kind of support just showed me that the fans and viewers of the show were able to see even through whatever the narrative was supposed to be. And they could see the real me. And I really appreciate that. It's been tremendous. It's been very encouraging.
I think we do get it. Like we've seen what happened. Yes, we would love you to come back. And because you know, I always say this, I've been saying this for 10 years. We love a full circle moment. We love a full circle moment. We grew up listening to fairy tales, like you said.
Yes.
We love a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yep.
But we also can see that you're a human being.
Right.
You have a family, and you're like, y'all, this is just not good for me. This isn't good for my family, and this is the best decision. So of course we're gonna get it. But we all do wish that there was an ending to this story, because we love to see it. But at the same time, we can't blame you for it. So I'm glad that you've had people that have supported you and been there through it.
Yeah.
Do you still talk to anyone like from the crew or anyone that's in the company? Like, is there love there? Do you miss them? Like, can you talk about that?
One of the difficult conversations was after I did walk away. 2 weeks later, I finally got contacted by my VPs, and when I did have a call with them, they were just like making sure, like, is this what you want to do, and we just want to hear you out. It was difficult because I told them I really, the thing that I hate is I feel like I'm losing a part of my family now that I've come to know. But as far as some of the crew, some of the producers, I definitely still have relationships with. I still talk to. One in particular, he's been there since my first day, and like we've always been friends, even when he hasn't covered our show. Yes. I love James.
James is a cutie pie. I'm like, can I get that white boy to hold me back, please? I'll pretend I'm in a fight.
He was necessary to be there.
Were you mad at him at all? Because
no.
I have to be honest with you, Monique. When the fight happened, I actually put him on the terrible list. And let me tell you why. Of course, he was doing his job. He was like, holding you, and he was like, please let her go, Monique. What I didn't like, though, is when he trapped you in that little stairway. I'm telling you, Monique, if he would have let Karen in there, maybe she would have been able to calm you down, and you wouldn't have ran out the back. Well, what would you do if you hear some banshee yelling on the other side of the door, all these crazy things? You're like, I'm going to go over there. So I thought, in a way, he kind of contributed to the madness, because I'm like,
no,
he should have let Karen in there. Karen would have calmed her down. Instead, he was like pushing the door back. I would have been like, James, you better move that cute face.
No, I gotta tell you. So what y'all don't see is Karen was trying to come in the room, but I was trying to come out even more. So James was just like, I'm not opening up this door, because I literally had my hand and my foot there. But yeah, when you're in the heat of the moment, ain't nothing stopping you. You're just gonna be like, so James, he was the right person to be there, because I respect him. I love him. He's like a brother to me. So he was definitely the right person to be there to kind of calm me down. And then I was just like, I kept hearing, fire. Who gets into a scuffle and gets your whole wig rearranged, and the first thing out your mouth is she fired? Is she fired? That means it almost seems like you intentionally did this.
Yeah.
So it just was like, I felt very set up in that moment. And then to hear hood rap B, this, that, and the other, fire, you fire. I'm like, okay, all right, well, since I'm fired, let me go finish her off. So that was that, but I'm just happy that's all behind me.
You're like, yeah, I said all that, but I really am happy it's all gone. It's all behind me now. It's all behind me now. So do you think, well, that just made me think about something. I will drag you, pregnant and all. Do you think ever since that moment, Candace was like,
she never let it go.
I'm going to get her to drag me.
There was several times. I think it really got under her skin, and she could not let it go. Because after that moment, I found out months later, because that was what we were filming season 4. That whole moment happened around like October. And the following year, she told me that she was still upset with me about the farm and me saying that to her. And we had already, like that night, we had patched it up.
Yeah.
She called me as I left to make sure that we were on the same page. And, she was like, are we good? And I'm like, yeah, no. I apologized to her and all of that. And we moved forward. So I had no idea she was so upset. But I think she's very ego driven. So I think that it really took a hit on her ego. So then fast forward, she tells me that she was still upset. And I'm just like, what? I thought we were fine all this time. Come to find out, she was doing a little shady stuff behind my back.
Tit for tat.
Yeah. So yeah, she's very ego driven. And most of her hurt and most of those tears were because she was embarrassed, you know, for this to happen, and it's on national TV. Had she been on the winning side, I say very loosely, but if it would have looked like she got the better of me and she had beat me up or whatever, she would have been walking around boasting and sticking her chest out and everything else. I think most of that was just embarrassment, and then having to relive it. It was more so hurting her ego, you know, and her pride. So
Well, it takes two to tango, and you guys both tangoed. There's no, fight about that. But what I didn't like is that she just didn't take any fucking accountability. Not
right.
even with her fucking therapist. It was like, you really think you didn't contribute anything? She was like, no. He's like, well,
Right.
think about it. And she's like, no, I did. I did think about it. And I'm like,
She wouldn't
did you
even
really?
she wouldn't even admit on camera to anybody else that she actually hit me with the glass. But when she wrote her police statement, her complaint, she admitted it in her complaint.
Your brother was on my former podcast when I was with another network. Now I'm on my own. I'm out here on my own, everyone. So make sure to support me. Log on to that Patreon. Me and Monique are lone wolves out here, okay? We've left the big companies, okay? So you got
in our own right.
exactly. You got to support our Patreons, Monique's and mine, okay?
Yeah.
Go over to the Patreon playground and come play with us after this. It's going to be a blast. That's what I wanted to talk about. Your brother was on the podcast, and he was very much all about the facts. Like, he was like, I wasn't there. I can't really comment on something that I didn't see. But he did talk about things that were happening. You said, actually, I got in trouble for that performance. Can you elaborate a little bit and have the listeners know about that situation?
Yeah, so it was funny. Bravo was trying to put me on a press ban, and they proceeded to then lie and say, well, you had 3 strikes already. 3 strikes? What? When did I get a first strike? So I said, you got to run these strikes by me and put them in writing, because I have no idea what you're talking about. And they said, well, your brother did a podcast interview, Everyone is Terrible podcast, and he talked about the fight. First of all, he didn't talk about the fight. He actually handled the question very well. And secondly, what does that have to do with me? My brother ain't under contract. So what does that have to do with me? So yeah, they definitely brought that up and tried to act as if that was a reason to ban me from doing press, when really it was something that went down where they didn't do their due diligence.
Bravo's always mad at me, honey. Welcome to the club. Hi, Bravo. Hi. See you watching us. I see you watching me. Hey, boo. How you doing? I think that was so funny. You were like, oh, they are watching you. I got in trouble for that.
They are definitely watching and paying attention. They look for any and every angle.
Tell us about your essential oils line, because let me just tell you, I live in California, so we're all about that holistic, healthy lifestyle. I'm having panic attacks in the middle of the night, so sometimes you just start to think, and your mind races, your heart races, and sometimes that kind of anxiety gives in. So what can I take to kind of just relax me, get me out of my head? Is there something for that?
Yes, actually, as you're talking, marjoram, that's the first essential oil that comes to mind. Marjoram is very, it's just one of those oils that gets you into that really deep, relaxing state. So it really helps when you're trying to go to sleep. People that have like insomnia issues, they use marjoram. And you can literally take a few drops, rub it on the back of your neck, rub a drop on your forehead, massage your temples, and you will be out.
I know you're still really good friends with Ashley and Karen. Have they been supportive throughout this time? And are they supportive of your new ventures?
Yes, I mean, I talk to them and I tell them what I got going on, but outside of just having conversation, that's pretty much where it is. I still talk to Ashley. I still talk to Karen. I don't care to hear about what they're doing with the show. Anytime I talk to Ashley, it's always about the baby. It was about the pregnancy before, and then I checked on her, with the baby, and she'll reach out. She wished me and Chris a happy anniversary, and so we keep in contact like that. I have not talked to Ashley about binder time, so I probably will.
So there's a riddle about Michael Darby. Is that what you're saying? You're like, there once was a man named Darby who was a freak. He's a freak-a-leak.
I'm not messing with the Darbys. I love the Darbys.
So there's no basement stories coming out.
Oh, God.
Andy was like, is there any footage of the basement? Do you have any footage of the basement? And you're like, no, I don't.
I don't have cameras inside of my basement.
Well, who has? Who does?
Right.
Who has cameras in their... Everyone has cameras outside of their house for security purposes.
Outside.
Do you know this cameraman? Because obviously he's part of the crew.
No, he was new. I've probably met him twice at that point.
There's definitely some smoke there, you know, when there's smoke, there's fire kind of thing. And he's had his issues. We've all seen it on the show. We've seen Ashley talk to him about it. So some trust issues there. Like, I would not fully trust him. As a relationship person, I'm like, I would not. Where are you going? I want to know where you've been.
I don't know. I just feel like, they had their bumps in the road or whatever, but they've been very open about those things.
Do you think maybe Michael kind of enjoys the attention?
I don't think it's that. I think what happens is once a narrative is started, anything you do from that point on, they're going to find a way to keep trying to push that narrative.
Why didn't you go to Andy's baby shower?
I actually had just had Chase. Chase was only like 2 months old at that time, if that. And I had my plane ticket. I had his gifts. I had everything ready to go. My hotel room, everything was booked. But I couldn't be away from my baby.
It sounds far-fetched, but do you think if you would have gone to that baby shower and you would have hung out with, because obviously you're part of the Potomac group, you were probably going to sit with the girls. Do you think if you would have went, they never would have congregated together, had drinks, and then started talking about who they were going to go after next? Do you think if you were at that table, maybe it would have been about someone else? I know it's crazy to think about.
No, see, the thing is, at the baby shower, that dinner situation happened later that night.
Yeah, like after a landslide of drinks.
I would not have went to dinner with them.
Ah.
I would have never been there. So
but you would have been with them all day drinking and hanging out. Like, do you think it still would have been in their nature to have been like, I know we were just with her all day, but let's talk about her?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, even before Andy's baby shower, they were already talking about it, already plotting, trying to figure out how to bring it to camera, and had already tried to bring it to camera. They just didn't show it in season 4. So yeah, this was just...
That's so crazy. It's so dirty to talk about someone's family like that, especially like a baby. I'm like,
they were talking about this nasty lie when I was pregnant.
What's your favorite top 5 oils?
Oh, that's a good one. So I love rosemary. I tell the story of rosemary all the time because it's great for reducing inflammation when you're congested, or if you can't breathe through your nose. That is the most annoying feeling.
It really is. I get anxiety from it when I get sick.
It's so annoying. So you put rosemary around your nose, takes the inflammation out. You can breathe within minutes. It's amazing. So that was one of the first oils that really got me into using them faithfully for my son. He kept having recurrent sinus infections. I have an essential oil called Mind Over Matter. It is just amazing. I love it. It's one of my favorites. I love putting it on my forehead when I have like a lot to do that day and I just want to get myself ready. I have another one called Hormonal Symmetry, which helps balance the hormones. Balancing your hormones.
So these are like very off the cup. Like, are you mixing oils and stuff? Because these sound like very personalized oils.
They are. They're personalized. They're blends.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, I love the blends because you're getting like 4 or 5 different oils all mixed into one to accomplish a goal,
That's good.
So we have a lot of blends that are just amazing. I have one that we diffuse at night. It's called Sleep Tight. And I named it after what I always say to my kids. I tell them sleep tight and let the bed bugs bite. So my grandfather used to say that to us. I said it to my kids. So I named the oil Sleep Tight. It's a beautiful blend. It smells so good and it's very calming. And then we have Breathe Easy, which is great. You can apply it right to your chest. All of the oils in my store, you can apply topically and you can diffuse them. So you get extra benefits from, putting it directly on your skin. I have all kinds of carrier oils that you can use. I have the diffusers, the bath salts. I have a lot more coming out. So
where can we check that out on?
MilaEveEssentials.com, or for short, shop MilaEve.com. And the name of the business is Mila Eve Essentials.
Who is the most terrible of Potomac? Who is the most terrible?
Oh man, that's hard. Because there's so many.
Right? We have nominations for Giselle for being the messiest person I've ever met in my life. We have nominations for Candace. We have nominations for Robin. I'm so glad Juan Dixon isn't here. Well, you know what? I'm not. He should be in my bedroom. Oh my God. Who is the most terrible from the cast?
I probably would have to say Candace. Yeah, because it's like you don't even come with a storyline.
Yeah.
Like her storyline has been her marriage since the beginning. Like they got married, then the second season, her second season, they celebrated getting married. And then the third season, she had nothing to talk about. And then the fight happened and that's all she talked about.
So if they were like, we'll throw you some money to go to lunch with Karen and Ashley, would you go?
Nah. Yeah, no, I won't ever go back to that show, and probably not even the network. To be completely honest, I'm not interested at all.
Are you done with reality TV in general? What if We TV called you tomorrow and they were like, "We love the Samuels. We'd love to do a Samuels show."
If it's a good situation, if the paperwork is right, if I'm co-EP.
I've been burned before. I know how this works. Okay, you guys.
Look here. Yeah, they've been schooled the wrong one.
There we go. Well, Monique has given it to us all, you guys. She was in the hot seat tonight. So thank you, Monique, for being such a good sport. Check out her essential oils line, you guys. She's very passionate about this.
All right. Well, make sure y'all visit MoniqueSamuels.com. That's the easiest and fastest way to keep up with everything that I have going on. All of my businesses are attached right to that website, so you can find any information there, and it'll link you to wherever you need to go. Binder Time Stories is my latest project, which comes out March 31st on my Patreon account, patreon.com/MoniqueSamuels. And then I'm going to release it on my YouTube channel on April 14th on Tea with Monique. Wrapping up season 3 of my podcast, and I'm still, not for lazy moms. That's a daily thing. So yeah, that's pretty much everything.
So we voted Candace the most terrible because, if the shoe fits, we had to do it. We had to name someone terrible, and she's a terrible one. So I want to thank my guest, Monique Samuel. She is former Real Housewives of Potomac breakout star. You can find Monique on her Instagrams. I want to shout out my patrons, Monica, Holly, Melissa, Mikey P, Jean. Oh, Jean, welcome. You're so great. You guys, the Patreon is new, so please take advantage and jump on it. It's so fun. You get to see everything without any edits. Like when you listen to the podcast, it's like just pristine. But this time, without the editing, it's just like you get to see the real me, the vibes, the what we're drinking, what we're dealing with. So log into that Patreon. You can find me at Hollywood Leon at Everyone Is Terrible Pod. Like I said, the Patreon is open. Go buy a mask on Everyone Is Terrible shop. Click the link in my bio. I want to thank Monique again. Monique, thank you so much for coming on. We will see everyone next week. Bye, terrible kids.
Who's the most terrible of them all? It's Hollywood Leon.